There's a lot of things that kind of make us different from what you've traditionally seen in the sport in the past. And there's kind of two, I guess we can break this into two components. There's differences between the iF3 organizationally and private brands that run sporting events. And then there's the structural differences in the sport itself. So the organizational differences, what we've seen historically in the sport is private brands running competitions, right? Branded events. And what we have here is a nonprofit organization governing a sport, right? And the term functional fitness, that's a generic name for the sport. A brand, a trademarked brand name cannot be a sport. So that's, for purposes of the Olympic movement, that's really important to kind of know and distinguish. And sometimes that gets confused in our community. So we've had to do a lot of sort of education on that point. But that's really the important thing to understand organizationally. We're a nonprofit. It's not one person who owns and runs this. Like, yes, I'm the president. I technically don't own the organization because you can't own a nonprofit. No one owns it. And I manage day-to-day operations, but we have a board of directors who governs things and kind of helps run the organization. And then we have committees who make a lot of our specific decisions, right? Our technical officials committee, they're experts in that. Our programming committee. So a lot of our work is split up. And really, it's people amongst the community who are serving on these committees and doing this work to grow the sport. So it's a group of people helping to manage, develop, and run the sport. It's not like one person is owning this. So those are the biggest, I would say, organizational differences. From the sporting perspective itself, what we have done to the sport is add a little bit of structure. So that started with the rule book and the movement standards. Up until we did it, there was never a book of movements, a written book of every single movement in the sport and how it would be judged. So we put that together. I wrote that entire first draft with the help of John on our technical officials committee, helping to edit that and format that and figure out what we were missing. And that sits on our website 24/7, basically. And if you don't know how a movement is going to be judged, you can go and look at it. If something is not in there, then you can know it won't show up in competition that season. And then we make updates to that on an annual basis. So that was kind of the first thing. The second thing was to really define what the sport is and say, okay, well, how many events are there and what are we testing? So what we have come up with is that we have a 6-test structure, and we said that every event is going to test endurance, strength, body weight movements, skill, mixed test, and then power. So you have those 6 tests, right? And they're designed so that those abilities and those capacities are being tested. So you always know you're kind of getting this relatively balanced fitness test because you know you're not going to go to an event and every single event is heavy barbells or every single event is running. You're getting a little bit of each, and that's how we've chosen to balance it out. And the cool thing about it is we can look back once we have, a couple years of data, 5-6 years down the road, and be like, well, is this really as balanced as it could be? Is this the right direction? But this is a great foundational starting point. And we've already looked at the past 2 years and said, okay, we need to make a slight change in the 6 tests. This year we took the names from, some of them were 2-word names, and we made them all one word to clarify it. But we took, the skill test used to be called body weight skill. We've removed the word body weight and it's just skill now, which opens that category up a little more broadly to test some things that are not just body weight skills. We had the Turkish get-ups, the kettlebell get-ups this year in the skill test, but now that category is open to include, other movements that maybe aren't just body weight that are still skill movements. So that's a cool change, but it kind of highlights how there's a process in place to develop the sport, right? And there's a trajectory for how we do this.